here on the other side, well, look at that. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. So today I'm out at the Third Welland Canal, and yes, I know it's kind of my favorite area, and I'm going to look at something a little bit different today. So today I'm not really looking at the canals themselves, I'm in search of the weirs. As you can imagine, the Third Welland Canal opened in 1881, and really they didn't have any mechanism for pumping large volumes of water in those days. So really what they relied on was gravity. So beside the locks all the way down there was a series of weir ponds, and at the end of each weir pond there was a weir, which was basically an overflow to maintain level, such that ships that were traversing between locks would have a level patch of water that would allow them to navigate from one lock to the other. I believe that would be much higher than the water today. So the weir ponds no longer exist, but remnants of the weirs actually do. So today we're going to go look for some weirs. It's a weird saga today. We're in search of weirs, if you can imagine. Now this whole area here that we're walking across, beautiful field, but in reality it was a weir pond, and where we're standing right now would have been underwater. I'm not sure how deep it would have been, but we would have been underwater for sure. So you can see a little bit of a outcrop here, and there's a corresponding outcrop on the other side. And lo and behold, you see that this is actually man-made. So it's got some beautiful old stonework back in there. And this would have been basically the left-hand support of the weir. I don't know if we can get up there or not. Maybe we can. Very cool. Right. So this is one of these side approaches to a weir, and then down below here there would have been a weir going across, and that would have established the height of the weir pond. Very cool. Back in the day, this held back an enormous big pond of water back there. And there doesn't look like there's much on this side. Yeah, a little bit of stone back there. Not too much. Huh. Okay. Well, we'll go up to the next one and see if there's anything exciting up there. So definitely time to do a tick check. I already noticed one, believe it or not, and flicked it off. So, not good. So this whole area, if you can imagine, used to be a weir pond. Today it's a beautiful grassy field, but it used to be underwater. This is an interesting spot. So here we have some foundations for an old bridge. So for whatever reason, they needed to bridge across here for vehicles, I guess, coming along the side of the canal. But back in the day, this would have been a location where the weir pond was supplying water through here, and the water would have flowed right through into the canal, and then created that level that we were talking about between the locks. This is kind of a nice spot right here. Definitely interesting. It would have been great to see pictures of the bridge here. I don't know if there are any that exist. I'll have to go look for them. Tick check. Nothing, nothing. Gosh. So I've already knocked one tick off me. And I've got my tick extraction tool, should I miss something. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy how many ticks are out here. So you can see here really clearly that there must have been a lot more water in between the locks back in the day. So you can see down there that really there's only a little bit of water going in the bottom of the lock. Even as, you know, even though there's a lot of water going through today, even that isn't as high as it needs to be to run a ship through here. So here we have another place where the weir water would have come in. So I'm at another location where there was a weir, and the only thing that's left here, by the looks of it, is a bunch of stones kind of piled up here. But this is obviously man-made stone. Lots of square pieces in here. And it looks like this piece right here, this would have been a piece where they would have maybe had a square timber across the top of the weir where they could regulate the flow. So if they wanted to, they could lift up a timber and have the water level lowered or raised. So kind of cool. So obviously a critical component. This would have been the western side of the weir. I don't see very much in the way of construction here. I don't really see any timber or any stone work or anything. This is actually quite bad out here today. There are so many ticks in the grass. It's crazy. I'm already up to tick number 3 that I've had to flick off, so not good. So yeah. Here on the other side, well, look at that. Not very often you come across something like this in the middle of a forest. So, okay, so here's the slot. This would be the corresponding slot for the other side. You remember just a few minutes ago I saw a little piece that had a slot in it. So this is probably the eastern match to that. So wow, there's not much left here. So this would have been the weir that held back the water in the weir pond back here. Hard to see it now, but this beautiful green field back here used to be a giant weir pond. Cool. So I used to wonder why there was an extra tunnel under the railway here. Because I knew that there was a road tunnel at one time, but why would they have two road tunnels? So that was the question. And actually the fact of the matter is that this, when it was originally built, was not built for traffic. It was built to pass water under the railway. So this actually was kind of a feeder canal. So this fed water from one weir pond to another. So very cool. And it's still being used today for traffic now. So I guess around 1930, it no longer was used for its original purpose, and then they turned it into a road. Very nice. I often wondered what this structure was, but in reality, it's one of the more intact weirs. So really, this would have been what the other two weirs look like had they not been dismantled. So this is kind of a massive structure. So if you can imagine back in the day, this was holding back an immense amount of water, and the weir pond would have been beyond this, and that ridge up there would have maintained some kind of level. So if you can imagine, this weir here would maintain the level of the weir pond ahead of this, so beyond this, on the other side of this. And then the overflow here would have gone down into the next weir pond this direction. Hard to say what height that would have been at. Could have been not here at all very much, or it could have been quite a ways up. I'm not sure. Wow. Not only are the ticks after me today, but I see here poison ivy. Great. I should get hazard pay for this one. Yeah, I don't know what it is about today, but boy, are the ticks massive in number. Seems all very peaceful today. But I imagine back in the day there was a lot of water rolling through here. I wonder if I can get up there. Whew. Oh wow. So there's actually a little bit of water in here, even today. Cool. Oh, there's some big fish in there. Big fish. So today, this area out here is kind of just swampy, boggy kind of stuff. But clearly, there's a few fish in here. Man, this is so crazy solid. Those fish are eating the algae on the surface. Not sure if that's particularly good for you, buddy. So the next question is, how do you get off of here? There we go. That's awesome. I didn't realize it was like that. So if you know any more about these weirs and the weir ponds, please don't hesitate to put some comments below. I'd love to hear more. So here we are a little further up, above another lock. Back in the day there was another weir pond here. And there's one last intact weir here. That's very cool. So today you can hear lots of water flowing down from the gates up above here. It looks like there's another trail that goes down to the bottom of it. Oh yeah, so you can see the wall of the weir over here. Oh wow. So this is a little different, this one. Kind of makes you a little bit nervous. I can hear the water thundering on the other side here. Well, I don't believe there are any other things to see out here today. I've looked at all of the remaining ruins, I think, of the weirs in this area. So if you have any other comments, definitely put them down below. Love to hear what anybody else knows about the weirs and the weir ponds. Otherwise, thanks for watching.